Want to learn how to easily change the colors of something in Photoshop? Then keep on watching. Hey y'all, Victoria Cherie here with Pretty Party and Crafty, and we're going to jump right into some different ways that you can change the color of your backgrounds or graphs in Photoshop. Now, I know in Silhouette Studio and in Canva you can change the hue or saturation of an image, but it does have limitations, and I'm going to show you how you can overcome those limitations inside of Photoshop. So the first two ways will involve hue and saturation, which some of you all may be familiar with. And then the other one is going to be focused on specific colors. So let's start with the two backgrounds. First, we're going to look at how we can change the color of this Lego building block background. Then I'm going to show you how to change the color of the zebra stripes. We'll see how we can change the white to be a certain color or how we can change the black to be a certain color. And then finally, we'll see how we can change the color of this blue dress to something else. So let's start with the building blocks background. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that you have the layer selected. You can select it by clicking on the image, or you can click on the layer itself. Once you have the layer selected, at the bottom right corner, what we want to do is click on the third highlighted icon. So we have effects, we have clipping mask, and this third one, it looks like a circle that's half shaded. We're going to click on it and we're going to select hue/saturation. Next, with it selected, we have a new layer that pops up and it says hue/saturation 1. We're going to right click on this layer and we're going to select create clipping mask because we want whatever that we do with this layer to only affect the building blocks background, nothing else. All right, so once we have the hue saturation layer added, if you notice, if you look above it, we have our properties panel that we can adjust. So to change the color, all we have to do is move this slider for hue to the left or to the right. So as we move it, if you're looking at the screen, the color is changing. Okay, quick and easy. So hue is going to change the color itself. If you go underneath saturation, that involves how much color. So if you move saturation to the right, it'll get more vivid. If you move it to the left, it'll get more darker, almost grayish as it loses some of that color. So if you're looking to change an image to gray, all you have to do is move that saturation down to the left. All right. And then next, lightness. Lightness just involves light. So if you move the lightness slider to the right, it gets more whiter in color. If you move it to the left, it gets darker. Or you can take it all the way to black. All right, so that is how we changed this overall image. All right, next, what we want to do is look at the zebra background. So we just changed this from blue to purple. Now we're going to change our zebra background. Now, the issue when trying to change this in another program such as Silhouette Studio or in Canva, the issue, I'm going to show you what happened. So we have it selected. We're going to go to the bottom right and we're going to select the third icon that's white, and we're going to select hue/saturation again. We're going to right click that new layer that popped up and we're going to click create clipping mask. This is so this only affects the zebra layer below it. All right. Now, when you're in Silhouette Studio and you have an image or part of an image that's gray or black and you're trying to change the color or even white, if you move the slider for hue to the left or to the right, if you notice, nothing is happening, okay? I could change my saturation. Nothing is happening. My lightness, well, it will turn black and it will get brighter or lighter, but the color isn't changing. So I'm going to take all of those back to 0. And let's see, how can we change the color? So the way that you do that, make sure you stay on the hue saturation layer if you accidentally click off of it. The way that we can change the color, you have hue, saturation, and lightness. Underneath this, it says colorize. You're going to make sure that colorize is checked. Okay, once you checked it, it automatically reset the hue, saturation, and lightness. If we want to change the white, to a different color, you're going to move lightness to the left. Okay, and now when we slide that hue, we're getting different colors. All right. So again, if you wanted to change the white to a different color so that it's black in a different color, you move the lightness to the left, and then you can start playing around with the hue and the saturation. All right. Let's say that you did not want to change the white. You wanted it to be white in a different color. So we can change lightness, and we're going to move that to the right. And now we're changing the black color. All right, so move lightness to the left. If you want to change the white color, move lightness to the right if you want to change the black color. And then again, you just play around with hue and saturation until you get it to a color that you like. But I actually like the, yeah, I like this. Maybe bring that back down and just play around with this right here. All right, so that is how you change the color when it is a black and white image. Just make sure you have colorize selected. Okay, and finally, we're going to work with our character. So this time we're not going to work with hue and saturation. We're going to use something else. So make sure you have the character selected. You can select her by clicking her or clicking the layer. But before we make changes to the color, let's say we want to change this blue dress to maybe pink or red or green or something else. Make sure that she's selected, and we have to rasterize this layer. So when you bring in images into Photoshop, they're smart objects. If you don't understand smart objects, don't worry about that right now, but we just need to make sure that we rasterize it. And to do that, just go to the layer, right click it, and you're going to select rasterize layer. It looks like nothing happened, but it did. So now we're going to go to make sure she's selected. We're going to go to where it says image, adjustments, and we're going to come down to the bottom. Now, if you did not rasterize this layer, these would be grayed out and you wouldn't be able to make any changes. So if these are grayed out for any reason, that means you did not rasterize the layer. And again, to do that, all you have to do is right click the layer and select rasterize layer. So I'm going to select replace color, and I'm going to make sure that the eyedropper tool right here is selected. And I'm going to click on her dress, the blue that I want to change. So I want to change this blue right here, so I'm going to click on it. And I can bring it down, the fuzziness down lower if that's the only blue I want to change. But because this blue has highlights and it has shadows, my fuzziness, I'm probably just going to leave that at about a 1, maybe a 160. And we can adjust it if we need to later. And we also want to make sure that preview is checked so we can see what's happening. Now, if something changes and we didn't want it to change, that's why we can be able to see it here and we can adjust it in real time. So I have my blue color selected, and I'm going to change my hue by sliding it to the left or to the right. All right, so right now it's green. So as you can see, even the highlights and shadows kind of changed colors. And if you notice, even her, some of her stockings changed colors as well. So if you didn't want that really light blue to change, you could pull the fuzziness back down. So let me take that back to 0. So again, if you didn't want this blue to change, you just wanted to focus on this, you just want to bring this down some more, because what it does is it tries to adjust all the colors that's in that range. So now if I bring it down, her stockings are pretty much staying the same, not too much of a change, but I could bring it down even lower. Okay, and now her stockings aren't changing at all. So that's just something that you could do. So again, this was just a quick tutorial to show you how you could change colors. So let me just go ahead and take this to maybe a pink. And I could change the saturation if I needed to, the lightness. But let me take that back to 0 because I want to change that fuzziness back up, because I don't mind her stockings changing a little bit. So I'm going to bring that back up. All right, hit OK. Now just keep in mind, there are many different ways to change colors within Photoshop. If you wanted to just change her bow or her headband, there are ways that you could do that. Just the color of her shoes, you would just have to make selections. But again, this is just a quick and easy way that you can change colors in Photoshop. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. If you learned something new, be sure to like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Later, y'all.